I decided to come outside and plant some more beets, and I thought, why not give you a garden tour? Because with the weather that we've had and the rain that we've had, stuff is grown like crazy. It is so awesome to see my garden grow this much. It did not look like this last year. I planted things a lot earlier this year, and I'm just really happy with what I have so far. Let's head into the greenhouse just for a second. I still do have some things in here. I have some things I got from Missouri, some plants, which I didn't know that they had. I still have a couple of herbs in here. I do have some of these. I'm not sure I'm gonna put these. And this is wild yarrow out of the yard that I just picked up. I'm gonna plant this somewhere so that I can keep it in one big area. And then I do have some tomatoes that are coming up, and then I have some other ones that came up as well, and then this is my echinacea. Now, this is some stuff that I still need to get out, and I need to find somewhere to put. I have some other seeds that I want to go ahead and start as well, but let's go ahead and go out. I've got flowers everywhere. I'm just really happy with how things are growing this year. So let's walk around here to the front. The front of the greenhouse is where I keep a table. This has things that I have hardened off or that I don't know where to put yet. I've got some borage. These are clippings from my rose bush that I'm gonna we're gonna see how that works. I've never started roses, and I'm not real sure how that's gonna work. We'll see. It was clippings that I had to make. This probably just needs to be cut off. But over here, these are coreopsis. I don't know if that's how you say that I need to plant. We've got some toothache plant or spilanthes. I've got some thyme and a hibiscus that I don't have planted yet, and just some candy tub, and I think this is a sunflower back here. Tomato plant that I need to get in the ground somewhere. I think I was going to give this to my daughter, so I've got to decide what I'm going to do with that because it really needs to be planted. This is some oregano that came off of my plant, so I potted it so I can put it somewhere else as well. And these are mini eggplants. I have 2 of them already planted. Not sure what I'm going to do with those 2. So we go around here. I've got some marigolds. I have another pot of potatoes that I did, so this is one of them. And then we've got another one over here. Just excuse the weeds. It is rather warm out today, but look at this, all this green. I love it. See the asparagus bed now? Keep in mind the weeds are growing just as everything else is. The asparagus is starting to go to seed. I'm thinking about moving this. I'm not real sure. If you have a suggestion for asparagus, I put it in this raised bed. I don't know that that was the greatest option. I probably should have moved it somewhere else so it can just go to seed, come back, and just come back in that same spot over and over again. This is taking up a fly bothering me. This is taking up one of my raised beds, and I don't know that I like that. So I'm thinking about moving it. Let me know if you can do that. Like, I have no idea. This is the first time we're getting asparagus off of this. So we'll see how that works. This is the lettuce bed that I'm gonna have to cut again, and I cut this whole corner off and it grows back. So that is one thing about lettuce. It does grow back, but I do need to cut some more off, clean it, and if you're curious how I clean it, I do have a video that I will link above, and super easy. The lettuce, this is the first time that I've actually grown this kind of lettuce successfully, and it is delicious. So I planted this really early. Like, this is all started, I believe, in like February. So I started this really early. I actually got online and printed out zone chart. I don't know what that's, I don't know what I'm, a zone table for my area, and it kind of gave me like ranges to plant things, and that has really helped me out a lot. I'll link that below too. This was bunching onions, I believe, but it's mostly weeds now, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do there. I guess I'll just pull those out. The Tom Thumb lettuce did not do as well because it was kind of in between here, and I had to pull some of it out because it was molding it, and you can see some of it did right there as well because it just didn't have enough airflow. So lesson learned on that. I know now. I will probably put that somewhere else. I started some marigold seeds, and I've got one here. I've got a couple more over there in that bed that are getting ready to bloom. They haven't bloomed quite yet. But this is these are more potatoes in a raised bed, which are going kind of crazy. I was supposed to fill this with more dirt, and I did not get to that. Now, this bed was full of kohlrabi, which If you can see right here, I have one in here still. This one will need to be picked, and this purple one I'm not real happy with. I had 3 purples. I picked a couple of them, and I really like the other ones better. They seem, I don't know, it's just they're different shape, and I like it better. I did have some dill come up that I'm pretty sure I planted either last year or the year before. So it came up, and I even had some of the cilantro come up. So that was interesting. But I've got some cabbage and cauliflower and broccoli over here maybe. I don't even know because my labels all faded with the sun. But I have planted beans in here now. So I pulled out the kohlrabi, and now I've got beans planted on this side and bush beans planted on this side. One of the things that I've learned about planting early is that you can plant succession crops. So if a crop only takes, say, 35 to 45 days, like some of these kohlrabi, you can actually then, you know, harvest those and plant something else that is a warm weather crop. So that's been interesting. I've never really done that before. I think I'm actually watching a cabbage moth fly around my cabbages that are over here. I have nets over 2 of them, and these I couldn't fit the net back over, so I'm wondering if I'm gonna have some worms on this stuff. I'm gonna have to really keep an eye out for that. But here you have, I have some sugar snap peas on each side growing up the trellis. I had some icicle radishes in here. I'm actually letting go to seed, so I'm going to harvest some seeds from those. There's some over there as well. Now this is giant red mustard. It grows really well. We will not use all this, so I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try making it into veggie powder. So you can wash it, and then you dehydrate it, and then you blend it up into powder. So I'm curious if you've ever done that, because I have never made veggie powder, but I saw it on Pinterest and I thought, well, why not? Because we will not eat all this red mustard. I need to pick it all and plant something else there. So I think that's what I'm gonna do, is try making some veggie powder. Over here is some kale that I had, and I've been harvesting off of it, and I'm not really even sure what that is, if that's broccoli or cauliflower in there as well. I planted all this really early, and I got some weeds over there. My roses are poking through the fence and the hosta, but this was planted really early because otherwise you get worms on this, and I don't like to spray any of my crops if I don't have to. So the advantage of getting this out really early or keeping it covered is to keep the moths and worms off of it. Now I will say that I did harvest some of these sugar snap peas. It's been quite a while since I've planted sugar snap peas. These were a crop that you could plant really early. They are delicious, actually. They were so good. You can pick them right off and eat them in the garden. They're very sweet. These are Sugar Daddy Snap. I mean, these are Sugar Snap. Not sure what the difference is. If one is supposed to be sweeter than the other, but they are so good. I love just eating raw vegetables. And I'm trying to think where these came from. I'm pretty sure they came from Botanical Interests. All right, so if we walk back over here, so I have 9 raised beds. They're all made out of cedar fenced pickets. That was the cheapest way to make some raised beds. I planted all this early, so this was all planted in started in February, these seeds were, and then I planted these, I'm pretty sure, in March, and we've gotten some frost and some really cold temperatures, and they did really well. But you can see they are forming little cabbages. I'm really excited because these did not do well last year, but I think it's because I did not get them out. This nasturtium I love. I've never had nasturtium before, and I actually planted these from seed. It was a mix. So what I'm going to do is try to save some of these seeds so that I can plant these specific varieties again. Now, I had nets over this one as well, but I took them all off, and then I decided to put it back on because that moth cannot get into this, but they can get into these over here. So hopefully it won't do anything, lay anything on these. This is all cabbage, and there might be some broccoli and cauliflower in here. I'm not real sure, but I really probably need to uncover this. But you can see this. It's just, look at that little bitty head of cabbage. Is that not the most adorable thing ever? I need to check because some of these are early, but I probably need to pull the net off of this and let it get some more air. And then this is the other one. These, like this one over here, looked really bad, and I just kept watering it, and it's came back. So this is, I'm pretty sure this is like mostly cauliflower or broccoli, and then we've got another nasturtium. This one is like a coral color, so that's why I want to save the seeds so that I can get those specific ones. But then we've got these over here. I love planting in my raised beds only because I don't have to till those. I love using these pine chips. I would love to get some free wood chips, but we don't have an area that we have good where they could back in and deliver those, so I'm working on that. But I just got my tomatoes and my peppers planted and some more beans, so I'm going to show you those and show you my plan on trellising those. So here I've got my first row of tomatoes with a couple of peppers, and then a volunteer tomato on the very end. Got more tomato plants here. I grew all of these from seed this year, which makes me really excited. I have not done so well in the past, but some of these are just really big, so I've really got to get this trellising done. I was going to use cattle panels, but those cost about $25 a piece, and we are running out of them. We used to have a bunch and we sold them, and I actually need some more for fencing. So I think what I'm going to do is Josh Sattin's trellis to make you jealous. So I'm going to show you what it is in process. So I just have fence posts. Now I used what I have. I think he uses 7-foot fence posts. These are, I don't really know how you're supposed to measure these, but they're probably 5 foot now in the ground, but they were 6 foot. So I don't know if that would be a 5 or 6 foot fence post, but I'm going to use these, and you basically get PVC tees and you place it right on top of here. You run PVC through the top of there, through the tops, and then you basically put string from the tomato plant and you hang it up there, and then you wind that tomato plant up that string, and it should work like that. I've never done it that way. I've used tomato cages and I've used cattle panels, but this way I think the airflow will be much better. I'm going to try to keep trimming my tomatoes, but I do need to make a list and see which of my tomatoes are indeterminate and which are determinate, so that I know which ones are supposed to grow, which ones will actually reach the top. I'm going to plant some cucumbers and things down here as well, so I'm going to trellis those the same way to use vertical growing. That way I have a little bit more room in my garden. Now we have another spot that we're going to be tilling up, and we're going to be putting some watermelon and things. I may do a watermelon or a squash in here, but I've really got to get those started before it gets really hot and before the bugs get out and get on those, because we got squash bugs really bad last year, and I had to pull up all of my winter squash. I got a lot of winter squash, but I ended up having to pull it up. It got all over my pumpkins, and we didn't get any pumpkins, and so that is the plan. But after I pulled them up, they all went to my cucumber plant. So I was pulling squash bugs off like every single day, putting them in soapy water. Experimenting with some compost and manure because I have a ton of that. But let's head out here really quickly. It is nice and sunny out today. Let's head out here real quickly to where the fruit trees and the strawberries and the blackberries and blueberries are, and show you what my plan is out here. Now, if you watched my video before, I've talked about a tree guild or a food forest, and that is what I am currently trying to do. I laid down a bunch of cardboard last year. Most of it is still here. We have some weeds coming up, but I just didn't want to mow this anymore, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Here we've got some pink lemonade blueberries, which are not doing super well. These are older plants. I mean, there's a few, but not a whole lot. But like I said, these are older. They probably need to be, I don't even know, trimmed up next year. But now these little blueberry plants are doing pretty good. And this is the first year that I've actually got blueberries on them. Now the strawberries, on the other hand, I bought 2 plants last year, and this is what I have, and they are going absolutely crazy. I should have brought a bowl out here because I have some red strawberries that I need to pick. So these are definitely doing well. The blackberries have lots of blooms, so we're gonna have lots of blackberries. The little bees are on there, getting all the good stuff out of there. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that little bee. Kind of hard to get that. But my plan is to make a food forest out here so that I can just have a path out here. We don't have to mow it, and there'll be other plants underneath the trees. So not the grass that is takes the nitrogen. So the plan is to cut out the grass and to put a lot of mulch, and then to plant these other plants around it. Like I have strawberries planted around them. I have some herbs planted around them. There is some fennel out here, some extra sage that I had. There is, what else do I have out here? I've got some lavender out here. Let's see, some cilantro that I had extra. You can see my poor tree is loaded with peaches. I've actually been picking some of them off because there is so many, like these little bitty ones. I just pick those off because they're not gonna do very good already. But some of these, if you can see them, let me see. If you can see, the tree will already, if you can see those ones that are shriveling up, the tree will actually go ahead and take care of some of that for you. But I came out here the other day and I was just kind of going through and picking off the really small ones. You know, like some of these are really small compared to what some of these are. So I've just been kind of, as I go, picking them off to see. This tree really needs to be trimmed. I don't know, this year, next year, whenever you're supposed to prune peach trees. I'm not real sure. I don't think I've ever gotten this many peaches on it. Something is going on this year to where everything is like producing really well. I'm not sure if it's just been really good weather, but this is a nectarine tree, we think. I can't remember because I didn't write it down, and I don't have the tags, and you know, there's nothing on them, so I'm pretty sure it's a nectarine. But it's doing really well. It actually has, but they're too tall. They're way too tall because you can't get to them easily. I'm gonna have to have a ladder, and that is, I don't think, the way you're supposed to do that. Let me show you the food forest. So you can see that I have little plants planted out here. So the strawberries are doing really well. I did pick all the blooms and all the strawberries off of them so they would put down better roots. And some of this will not come back. This one here, I'm not sure what tree it is, but it has little strawberries around it as well. We've got some weeds growing up. Got some fennel planted that I grew from seed, and some more strawberries. I'm not sure, but I think this tree is dead. We'll wait and see what it does next year. It had blooms on it this year, and then we got a really hard freeze, so I'm wondering if that actually killed it. But I don't have to mow in this year, so that makes me happy. I do have to do a little bit of weed eating, though, it looks like. If you look here, there's a tiny little plant right there. These are a type of blueberry, or blackberry maybe. Maybe they're a blackberry, that I got seeds for from Baker Creek. I have another apple tree. If you have goats, make sure you have really good fencing, because they have destroyed like 4, 5, 6 of my trees. And then these are huckleberries, another Baker Creek seed that I just decided to get and plant. So these are all grown from seed, and we'll see how they do. But the bees are back here. I'm trying to kind of make a food forest to make the bees happy, so they'll have lots of different things to go to, and that's right there. My plan is to plant some flowers back there as well and not let that get too grown up, because it looks like I need to weed eat or something around there or mow that. But I actually have a piece of a cattle panel in here, and you can't even see it hardly now because they're going so crazy. But I even have them coming out. If we don't keep this mowed around this, they actually are putting out runners. I had to pull some up out here. Blackberries will pull up runners. So I think sometimes these blackberries are actually considered an invasive species, because I'm pretty sure they're really hard to get rid of, and I don't even know if you can because the place that I put them originally, we still have blackberries. The plan was to not have blackberries there anymore. That didn't happen. Let me show you what I'm talking about. As you can see, this is where they were, and they were actually over here a little bit more. We cleaned all this out right here when we had the wedding so we could move the trampoline over here out of the way, and yeah, now we have more. So I'm just gonna have to keep it nice and cleaned out, but it's right here by the garden. We've got another manure pile here. The cow helps me out with that a lot. The chicken run that I've got to add some chips to. That's another reason why I would love to have some wood chips. The good thing about wood chips from the local power company is they're free. I like free, and this would be great to fill in and they could get out there and scratch. Now the small little pen there has the mama hen with her 3 little chicks and our blind rooster in it. And then let me show you the Wallapini and what's going on with that. So the Wallapini, our in-ground greenhouse, is still full of water. So we basically have a pond back here. But if you look really closely at all that black, those are tadpoles. I was amazed. My son brought me out here, but those are all tadpoles. So I don't think we're gonna have to worry about mosquitoes. If I'm wrong, please correct me, but I don't think we're gonna have to worry about mosquitoes in this water right now, because I mean the tadpoles are up here, but they're also out there swimming around in the water out here. And in the evening it is crazy because there are so many frogs out here. But this was about a foot deeper in water when it first rained, but it's held water, so I'm pretty sure we could build a pond out here with all this clay dirt. But that's not what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be a Wallapini, and so we've got to pump out the water soon. I'm not sure when we're going to do that or how, and what we're going to do with all the tadpoles. I have no idea. That's going to be a lot of frogs is all I can say. The one good thing is a friend of mine told me that I shouldn't have as many bugs in the garden because of all the frogs right here. So we'll see how that works out for me. As long as they don't start eating anything they're not supposed to, we'll be good. The only thing with the Wallapini being right here is you can see that it's already shaded and it's probably 11 o'clock. So this tree, this group of trees is probably gonna have to go, which is okay because I would really like to open this up. We actually had the goats in there at one time and they cleaned all that up. So that may be another idea as well, putting them over there and letting them clean that up again and then cutting down those trees. But I would just love to open that up and have more sun over here, but definitely want it on the Wallapini. So we'll see how that turns out. I'm still hopeful that we'll have it. I was kind of hoping we'd have it before now, but that hasn't happened. Just like I have all the stuff to make our caterpillar tunnel, hasn't happened yet. So hopefully we'll have that in for fall and I can extend our growing. And before I get down to planting these beets, we've got our grandbaby here today. So I have to make use of my time. We've got the pool open and I'm gonna show you the roses around there and some of the flowers that I've got planted, and then I gotta go get these beets planted. But I've just started slowly. I've gotten flowers from my mom and just here and there. We've got a couple of hosta there and some lilies. These were small plants and now they went crazy. The one great thing about this is you can get the rose hips off of this, and I did that last year. Some more lilies and just a potted flower that I'm going to save seeds from. We pressure washed the deck, so these are looking a little rough. But I planted some more of the coreopsis, however you say that, wild violets, and lots of hostas and some crepe myrtles just around the pool. Alright, I took a moment to chat with my son, and then I'm hanging out in the shade because that sun is super intense today. I'm telling you, spring days and fall days are the days that you could get so sunburned because you're not realizing, because it's hot, but it's not as hot as summer. And man, I have got some of my worst sunburns then. I'm going to take you over here. We're going to show you a quick sweep of what I have planted up here by the house and the herbs that I have, so that they're kind of like right out my kitchen door there, and just some flowers and fun things that I have planted. Alright, so we put this patio on, I don't know, a few years ago. Now some of this needs a little bit of water, it's in the sun, but my rosemary has lived for a couple of winters, I think. I've got some lemon balm and some oregano underneath there, some chives, dill, and spearmint back there, or peppermint, some kind of mint. A little sage plant. I used to have a really big sage plant right there, and it died. I'd had it for many years. And we've got bee balm, and I planted the eggplants over here, some more lavender. There is a tree that is growing we're going to plant soon. But got some thyme right here and some cilantro. It looks kind of rough over here because I've been moving things around. The lemon balm and the bee balm was actually out front, and it was so tall it was, you know, overpowering everything else. So I moved stuff around a little bit. This is my future cold frame that still hasn't happened. We've got some lilies and some more the whatever those plants are called back there. My echinacea that I bought on clearance for like $2 is doing fabulously. I bought this last year, paid like $2-3 for it because it was all broke. But if you have a perennial that's on clearance, buy it, because if it's in halfway decent shape, you plant it, it'll come back out. It's gonna die a little over the winter anyways. So that was one of my really nice finds. Then we've got more hostas. These are the little alyssum, Snow White alyssum. Just fun things I wanted to plant. I did plant some lavender right there, but our dryer vent is there, and I need to move that. Actually, that might be dead. I'm not sure. I need to look. But I moved some yarrow over here. I have a big plant up front, which we'll go look at. Some variegated sage and some more of the coreopsis. I don't know. So let's walk around here to the front. I forgot about that. I have a bunch of hostas along the side of the house. This is a holding tree that I have over here. I just put whatever, and I kind of planted over there. I planted over here, just kind of keep it there. So if I don't know where to put it yet. We have a pecan tree out here that actually, it looks better than it normally does. I think it has some kind of a fungus or something on it, but half the hostas are still alive right here and half are not. So here's the front of the house. This is an almond bush. I can't remember if that's, I know it has little pink blooms on it very early in the spring. Hostas, this is my big yarrow plant. It's so pretty and so vibrant yellow. We've got more lilies and just all kinds of things that I'm not sure what some of them are. But my mother gives me plants and starts from stuff, and so I take it because it's free. I'm actually getting ready to go and help her clean up some of her flowers, and she's going to give me a bunch more that are free, like I said. Now this all needs to be cut off because these are columbine. Those will dry and then you barely touch them and they will shoot out seeds everywhere. As you can see, they spread. So I really need to take and cut all this off, let it dry, and then sprinkle them somewhere else so that I can have more. It's not that I don't like them, it's just they come up everywhere in this and then I have to pull them off. So I've got some more, I don't know what those are called, Easter lilies, and we've got some peppermint over here. I actually planted on the other side of that right there, and it came up over here. My father-in-law told me not to plant them anywhere I don't want it, and I did not listen. So if you get peppermint or anything like that, make sure you plant it where you want it. So this is an old rose bush I just cut down, or I didn't cut down, I pruned. And this is what my starts are from. This was my grandma's, and she gave it to me many years ago. I actually lost it for a time because I would mow over the top of it. It was kind of in a holding area until we stopped mowing there for just a little bit, and it started coming up, and I realized that's what that was. So that was a good thing. More flowers over here. My hydrangea, I don't think is going to come back up. Like, it did really well last year, but it doesn't look like it's going to come back up this year. I've just got black-eyed Susans, which I love. They are so pretty when they start blooming, and hostas, black-eyed Susans, hostas, black-eyed Susans, hostas. Just all kinds of stuff over here, along with some weeds. But this is still a work in progress. I don't mind the dying fern right there. But My advice is just to start small. You don't have to buy a bunch of plants, or just buy seeds and start them yourself. Get cuttings from other people, or if you have a flower that you buy and you really like it, save the seeds from it and plant more next year. This has taken me a few years. I mean, we've lived here for, gosh, like 18 years. So it's taken me that long. I mean, I've just planted stuff, and we started with things, started with these hostas when they were small. I've split them off, I don't know how many times, moved them around. So all these just the regular green hostas came from my mom, and I've got them spread out around the pool. They're on the side of the house. I've got them over by the garden. I mean, they're everywhere because they get so big and you have to split them up. So my next project will be to put some more flowers out by the barn, and to get my bees area, get it done, get some more flowers and some more blooms out there. So just start with small things and get you some perennial flowers and plant them and save the seeds from them and plant some more. Get you some annuals, save the, buy some stuff on clearance if nothing else, and save those flowers and save those seeds so you can plant something really cool next year.